Amanda, how are ya?
Hey, Jess, I'm doing well. I'm so excited to do some more chicken chat today.
Absolutely. And today's a good one because we're talking about my favorite thing.
Let me guess. Bantams?
Yes. So today we're going to talk all about bantams. So let's get started. And what is a bantam? Do you know?
Well, they're just a small variety of fowl, typically chickens and even ducks. They're just the pint-sized version.
Absolutely. A bantam is about a quarter the size of our standard size chicken. So they are pretty tiny.
And you know what blows my mind is that there are over 400 different varieties of bantams.
Absolutely.
And they can be found in different categories.
Yeah, I know. Come look at my flock. I have examples of both categories. So there's the two categories. There's the first category, which is the miniature version of our standard breeds. So Bantam Welsummers and Barred Rocks and Buff Brahmas, just to name a few.
And you know what I learned recently, and I can't believe I didn't know this before. The Bantam version of those standard breeds are just as prolific as the standard size. They're just going to lay the same amount of eggs, just smaller.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I have a lot of the Buff Brahma Bantams, and they lay so consistently. It's great. Lots of little tiny eggs here. There's another category too. So we talked about the standard size only being small, and the other category is called true bantams. And this is breeds like the Seabrights and Jess's favorite, the Silkies. The true bantam breeds are not going to be available in standard size. They're only going to be available in that bantam size.
And let's talk about their eggs a little bit. I mean, there is nothing cuter than a little tiny bantam egg. And there's a lot of egg packed into those tiny eggs. I know I had a few friends who I would give eggs to. There would always be a few bantam eggs in the carton. Ask, is there even a yolk in those teeny tiny eggs? And the answer is yes. They're just as eggy as the standard size eggs. They're just smaller, just a miniature version.
For sure. And I've even noticed, like on a lot of my bantams, the yolk's a little bit bigger. So they're eggy and yolky.
Eggy and yolky.
So it sounds like a chicken music group.
Right?
But I love hard cooking them. That's like my favorite, to have those little bantam eggs ready for a quick snack. They're really tasty.
Well, and you can have a couple more if you're eating bantam size eggs, right?
Right. Exactly. And speaking of their eggs, bantams are really fun to hatch. I know personally I've hatched a lot of bantams, and they're wonderful to put in your incubator. And they're also really good to put underneath a broody hen.
Now, I've never hatched bantam eggs in an incubator before. Is the incubation period the same as standard size fertile eggs?
Typically, it's the same, the 21 days, like our standard size eggs. Every once in a while, you may have a bantam that sneaks out a little early on day 20, but usually they go that full 21 days.
That's super interesting. Yeah. What I like about bantams is they're great for beginners. We get a lot of customers with small children wanting to get started with poultry, and they're wondering what is going to be the best option to be around their little kids, and so that their kids can be part of the process and not afraid of the larger chickens. I always say, start with bantams. Not that standards are scary, but bantams are a great starting point, especially if you don't have a lot of space. And it's a great way to get your feet wet. Bantams tend to be a little bit more social. Your kids will be more prone to picking them up and spending time with them because they are smaller. I mean, who doesn't want to be around those little cuties?
Absolutely. There's a lot of personality packed into those little bodies.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of them being small, with the bantams, they require less space. So a standard size chicken needs about 3 to 5 square feet in the coop, but a bantam needs around 2 square feet. And with that smaller size comes a smaller mess, so smaller poop, and it makes your coop a little easier to clean when you have a lot of those bantams in there.
And I'm all for saving some money, especially with the rising costs of everything, including feed. The feed consumption with the Bantams is not going to be as much as with the standard breed. So if you're wanting a less costly option, I would go with the Bantams. They're going to definitely eat less feed.
Absolutely. And the Bantams are great foragers too. So if you have a setup where you can let your Bantams forage for at least part of the day, that's going to help with that feed consumption. And it's really fun to watch them get out there and explore. Even though they're really tiny, they will chase those bugs pretty far around the yard.
And another thing that people use Bantams for, or they love Bantams because of their mothering abilities. I haven't hatched Bantam eggs in an incubator, but we have used a Bantam broody hen to hatch some eggs. And it was a really neat experience just watching how natural she was at turning those eggs, staying on top of that nest. And then once they were hatched, keeping them all close to her and making sure everybody was safe. That's not to say that it doesn't always happen that way. I mean, it's Mother Nature. Hens at any time can decide that they don't want to sit on those eggs. They have a mind of their own. There's always a risk involved with using a broody hen, but Bantams make really, really great mothers for the most part.
Absolutely. And from personal experience, one of my favorite things is we have a silkie we've named Mama, and she does really good at hatching. I can always sneak eggs underneath her. But the funniest thing is, when we know that the eggs have hatched, is to kind of pick her up, and she has tucked all those little baby chicks and all that fluffy, silky fluff. And it's so cute to see the little chicks popping out of the silky feathers. That's one of my favorite parts of hatching hatching Bantams is to put them under the silkies and see that. It's so cool.
And they're so gentle. It almost looks as though they're smothering them, but they're not. They're just taking good care of them.
Absolutely. They're really good moms. So what about Bantam math? So we always hear about chicken math.
I think you're really good at this. I think you're the professional at this.
I really am. The Bantams are smaller, so I always think I can add just a few extra.
Yeah. So how many Bantams equal one standard?
I'm not sure. I usually say about 2 to 1 or 3 to 1.
Or maybe 6 to 1.
Right. My excuse is always, when somebody asks me how many birds I have, I always just say, well, I have a lot, but they're Bantams, so it's totally okay.
I'm not really great at math in general, but chicken math, I'm pretty darn good at myself.
Oh, yeah, it is real for sure here.
And it's really going to help?
Yeah.
We have something new at Meyer Hatchery. Brand new special announcement.
We hatched some great
news. We are now offering sexed Bantams. With the exception of silkies. Silkies will still be offered as straight run only. But if you're looking for males only, females only, combination of both, even still straight run, you have the option to choose when placing your order.
Absolutely. That's such great news. And it's awesome because you'll be able to really pick, how many males or females you have on the Bantam. So what great news. So exciting.
So go forth and get your chicken math on.
Yeah.
Buy those Bantams.
Yeah. Bantam math. It's totally different, but even more awesome.
I love it.
Thank you everybody for listening to our chicken chat today. Be sure to check out the description below. There's a special coupon code there to help you with your Bantam math.
Oh, well, if you're saving money, you might as well buy more, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for watching, everybody.